Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on, what day are we? I've forgotten now.
Thursday.
Thursday. It is Thursday the 18th of June. And we know it's Thursday because we have Swinging from the Hip at 8 p.m. this evening. Don't we, Ashwin? There we
Yes,
go.
we do. Yes.
And we can even bring the Swinging for the Hip logo up on screen now. There
Yay!
we go. You are listening to New Zealand Sports Radio, and in the news today, we have the Phoenix Players Band. Look who's back! Ali's back. Isaac Moses, Ish Saga, no distraction. Curling announces mixed nationals tournament. So let's get straight into it, starting off with our football news. And Phoenix players Tim Payne and Ollie Sale, who took that drunken ride in a golf cart to break lockdown in Australia earlier this year. Tim Payne, as we know, pleaded guilty at the court appearance and will be sentenced on later this month. But the A-League has also banned both players for 4 games. This is another blow to the Phoenix, who still don't have permission to travel to Australia to take part in the league. All the other teams have already started training, but the Wellington Phoenix, who have players in Australia, the UK, Mexico, and obviously here in New Zealand, are all split up and can't train together yet. So they're still waiting on that permission to fly into Australia and let's have lockdown training similar to the way the Warriors did. Moving on, and some fantastic news over for Sarip Singh, the all-white midfielder. He is now a Bundesliga champion. Bayern Munich beats Werder Bremen 1-0 to clinch their record 8th consecutive title. And so the all-white midfielder was an unused sub during the game. And whilst he has only made 1 appearance this season, he is still now a Bundesliga champion. So congratulations to him. I'm going to hand you over to Ashwin now, who'll take us through our cricket update.
Thank you, Paul, and good morning to our listeners and viewers out there on the interweb. And as Paul mentioned, look who's back. Ali's back. Moeen Ali moves a step closer to Test cricket after being named in the training group to take on the West Indies. Ali took a break from the longer format of the game after being dropped in last summer's Ashes series. He will take part in a 3-day practice game starting on the 1st of July, after which the squad for the first test will be chosen. The 3-test series, the 3-test series against the West Indies will start on the 8th of July. PCB chairman joins Earl Eddings. Pakistan's chairman, Ihsan Mani, is the second person after Earl Eddings who believes that it is not feasible to hold the men's T20 World Cup starting in October. Mani becomes the second senior member of the ICC board to express his feelings on the matter, and a final decision on the matter is likely in the next 3 to 4 weeks, with the most likely outcome, surprise, surprise, is the competition will be deferred by a year. And it looks like Cricket Australia is finalising its financial cutbacks, but it won't affect domestic cricket competitions, Sheffield Shield, Marsh Cup, or the Big Bash leagues. That's women's and men's. However, the A-side program, the Cricket Australia 11, National Premier Cricket T20, Second 11 competitions will be put on hold until further notice, as well as 40 administration roles being made redundant. So that's the cutbacks. That cutback will save $40 million for Cricket Australia. And it's Thursday, as we mentioned earlier in the show. So make sure you join Swinging from the Hip tonight. On tonight's show will be Suruban Pasapati with regulars Rohit and Taran to follow on from our leg spin masterclass, which we had last week. And we will be talking about the psychology of spin bowling. And that basically goes from not just on the field, but off the field as well, and as well as the captain and the coach and their part in that. So join us at 8 p.m. New Zealand time, right here on New Zealand Sport Radio for your cricketing fix with Swinging from the Hip. And that's the cricketing news for today, Paul.
Thank you very much, Ashwin, for that update. And, where is it? There it is. You are listening to the morning sports briefing here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Hey, got a little logo,
Nice.
logo up there. You see what it did? See what it did?
See what you did there?
Moving on to rugby league news, and the Isaac Moses saga apparently is no distraction for the Warriors. He is the manager of Stephen Kearney, obviously the coach, Cody, Nico Oromia, Adam Blair, Blake Green, and Gerard Beale. The controversial agent has been banned or has had his accreditation removed by the NRL, and we will still so we'll still see how he can still appeal, but apparently this is not causing any distractions in the camp. In sports news here in New Zealand, the New Zealand Mixed Championships have been announced. They're going to be taking place between the 2nd of July and the 5th of July in Auckland. So if you would like to enter that competition, then registrations are open now. I'm looking forward to having a few interviews with key people at New Zealand curling soon on the long talk. The US Open has announced the rules they will be using to get to return to hosting that tournament. Players traveling to New York will be allowed 2 rooms at an official hotel, but they will also be allowed to hire a house privately at their own costs. Only 2 people will be allowed per hotel room, so players can only travel with an entourage of 3. Players will not need quarantining on entering the USA, but will have to be tested before they travel. Tests will be carried out once or twice a week, along with daily temperature checks. Everyone at the venue is expected to wear a face mask unless they are playing, practicing, or working out. And the draw for the men's and women's doubles will be halved from 32 instead of 64. Also, there will be no mixed doubles competition this year. And finally, it will have ranking points, which is expected to upset players who can't turn up due to the smaller field. So, and also because there is no qualifying tournament either, so there's less opportunities for players to get ranking points. Netball has released its revised draw, allowing so people know now when and where those games will be. All the games will be in Auckland until the 30th of July, and then the final 3 rounds, around 8, 9, and 10, will be held around the country, starting with the Tactics versus the Stars at Horncastle Arena in Christchurch on Thursday, the 30th of July. So if you would like to see your team at home, then they're going to be traveling around. Check out those dates for those weekends, like the 8th night, so between the 30th of July and the 17th of August. Games will be happening on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, and also that Thursday game as well on the 30th of July. The NBA has sent out a large document explaining how they're going to return to play in Disney. Players will obviously be tested regularly, and they will have access to the golf courses, the cabanas with misters to combat the heat, fishing areas, bowling, backstage tours to Disney World, and saloon services, whatever that means. I guess it's a bar, really. And 3 meals will be served during non-game days and 4 meals on game days. So there is a big handbook around all of that. They say it's not going to be a vacation. Players will not be allowed into each other's hotel rooms. They'll be the teams will be split across several hotels at the venue, and they've been working with the Players Association now. And Michelle Roberts has said that my confidence didn't exist at the beginning of this virus because I was so frightened by it. Now, having lived and breathed and suffered through the hours and hours of understanding the virus and listening to our experts and comparing different alternative protocols, I can't even think of anything else we could do short of hermetically seal the players that would keep them safe. So obviously very, very strict protocols happening there. And they'll be returning to Florida, or Tampa, Florida, between the 7th and 9th of July. The Toronto Raptors, being the only team from outside the USA, based in Canada, have got special dispensation to be allowed to travel to it. Motorsport here in New Zealand realizes it's going to have issues around sponsors, because sponsors are going to struggle with having already laid off people. That sponsorship is not necessarily high, or sports sponsorship is not actually high on companies' priorities at the moment. They are going to be holding a special day at Hampton Downs, where they will be showcasing several different things from GTs through to V8s, including the V8 muscle cars. They'll run the V8 Ute Championship final and also the Toyota 86 Championship final there as well. The Toyota 86 Championship is very close, and the winner gets a $30,000 car, which is why they're going to be running keep running that. Even though the other other formulas have decided to end their season. So they'll obviously be using that to talk to sponsors and showcase what will be coming up next season. So let's hope they have a good time down there at Hampton Downs for that special day. Formula E is going to host 6 races all at the same track to finish their season. It's going to be hosting it at the Tempelhof circuit in Germany, just outside of Berlin. They'll be running on 3 different configurations of the track, so that have different challenges for the teams, but they'll have dual headers on the 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, and 12th, 13th of August to complete their season, having had 5 rounds already. The Christian Coleman, the world 100-meter champion, has been provisionally suspended after missing 3 drug tests. He says that he's disputing one of the drug tests, saying he was 5 minutes away shopping and the tester made no effort to contact him. He claims that he has never used performance-enhancing supplements or drugs. One of the things is the athletes know the rules. You have to be at home or at the location you state for the hour each day when you could be randomly drug tested. He knows this, as do all the athletes, and so being somewhere else and going shopping during that hour is inappropriate. But he reckons the system must change. But the testers do not have to phone you. They have to just turn up at the location you've said you will be. And if you are not there, you are not there. So I think not sure he has much of a leg to stand on for that one. You have now started the day the best way, up to date with the important sports news. Don't forget to join us this evening at 8 p.m. for Swinging from the Hip, where we're going to talk about the psychology of spin bowling. And then tomorrow evening, on Friday at 8 p.m, we'll be previewing the Super Rugby Aotearoa games this weekend. So again, join us for that. And don't forget, obviously, that we'll be bringing you the morning sports briefing at 7 a.m. every single morning here on New Zealand Sports Radio.